In Chapter 5 of Mother 3, while you're on the highway chasing down the busted down Clayman, there's a little busted down cafe known as the Dur-T Cafe. It's no Jackie's Cafe, but it has some nice faces. Neckbeard and Skinhead from Club Tittyboo are here, now the cafe's bodyguard. A couple of Pigmacs are also here, including one of the worker ones. A couple of waitresses in their Club Tittyboo uniforms, and this guy with a mohawk, known as Gum Guy. Outside there's a hot dog vendor and a line for the bathroom, which includes this cow. Now this place tells a story, especially with all the ex-Club Tittyboo folks present and trying to get work here. But that's not the point of this video. I mentioned them because in the corner of the cafe is a jukebox, which can be interacted with. The jukebox features 5 songs, which can be randomly chosen if you insert 1 DP into the machine. White, Fairies, Resolve, Blessing, and Adolescence are the 5 possible songs that can be picked by inserting 1 DP into the jukebox, each of which are recommendations by the cafe's patrons. At first, it might seem as though these songs were written with the intention of being made for the jukebox. However, there's a lot of evidence and straight-up confirmation that these are songs that were scrap tracks for the game, repurposed as the jukebox tracks once they were deemed unneeded for the game. White, the owner's recommendation, was originally written as the theme for Chapter 7's Snow-Capped Mountain. Shogo Sakai stated in the liner notes of the iTunes exclusive Mother 3i,
"However, snow is snowman, isn't it? I forgot about that and wrote White, a song that now plays on the jukebox in a cafe in a highway parking area."
Speaking of owner, who is the owner of the Dur-T Cafe? It's gotta be one of these 2 pig masks. The pink one says. That sort of seems like something that the owner of the building would say, but he also disappears in Chapter 7. But this blue one says. He was also present in Chapter 7, but just repeats the same thing. Anyways, the track itself uses the same leitmotif as the original theme for Tazmily Village, which went unused in the final game. This is also shared with the other 2 tracks, including Fairies, Neckbeard's recommendation, seems to be an attempt to rewrite the original Tazmily Village theme for the GBA. Originally in Mother 3, during its development on the Nintendo 64, Tazmily Village had a different theme, which is what you're hearing right now. This track was ultimately cut from the final game, but lived on thanks to the Mother 3 cancellation post featuring the track and the leitmotif being used in many important tracks in the game. Shogo Sakai would explain why this happened in the Mother 3i liner notes, when talking about Master Porky's theme, which features the N64 Tazmily Village leitmotif in the second half.
The melody in the latter half of the piece is the same as the melody in Monkey Delivery Service and Fairies. There was a person who asked me a very in-depth question. They must have played a lot of Mother 3, and I couldn't lie to such a hardcore fan, so I answered honestly. To tell you the truth, I still have leftovers from the Nintendo 64 days. When we announced the cancellation of development for the N64 on the Almost Daily page, we made it possible to listen to the theme music of Tazmily Village. That's the melody you hear. And he said, "Oh, I love that song. Why didn't you use it?" Again, I answered candidly, I did want to use it, for financial reasons. I wanted to use what I could rather than create new songs for the GBA version. In fact, several versions of this song were ported to the device, but when I heard it in-game, it felt too slow and leisurely and didn't fit. Even increasing the tempo didn't work. The impression from the spacious N64 screen is different from the impression from the size of the advanced screen. In other words, the game screen naturally chooses the songs for me.
Where this would have gone in the game is unknown. While this fits Facade's speech in Chapter 3 really well and has been theorized as being meant for it, even without knowing, the track is still a very nice glimpse into the attempt to reuse the track. The jukebox does feature another track with the N64 Tazmily leitmotif, and that is Resolve, Gum Guy's recommendation. This track could have possibly been the original version of Phantasmagoric, the track that plays during Mother 3's ending. There's 2 possible clues, such as the song's timing, as the track is timed to the cutscene itself, and the scene ending right as the track reaches its loop point. and also the title of the track, Resolve. Though for that, it's important to note that the majority of Mother 3's track names weren't actually named by Sakai during their creation, but instead afterwards for the game's sound player by Akihito Toda, Mother 3's message designer.
The title of each song in the sound player was given by the aforementioned Mr. Akihito Toda.
If this track was intended for the game's ending, maybe it was written for the original N64 version, where the cinematic and grand scale of the game was easily realized and more prevalent, and the GBA version simply did not give the track its complete justice. So a new song had to be composed. As Sakai put it in his own words,
"It was scary. One of the reasons is that the first Mother 3 was made as a cinematic epic. By making it for the Game Boy Advance, the specs were reduced. We had to take the cinematic thing we had initially envisioned and recreate it as a piece of paperwork."
Blessing, Skinhead's recommendation, is the track with the least information known about it. What is known is that from the start of the track, it starts with the medley made for the Osohe Castle music, and the track itself is very beach-like, thanks to the use of the steel drums. It's theorized that this track might have been originally meant for Greatscale Village, a second town east of Tazmily Village in the N64 version. In the GBA version, it was renamed to Greatscale Beach, which you might recognize as Cerulean Beach if you played the Mother 3 fan translation. Specifically, this track might have been connected to Osohe Castle to Greatscale Village, which has some connection thanks to the Mother 3 times.
On the break of dawn on the 28th, 30-year-old Captain Leiter of the fishing boat Hatame Maru and his 8-year-old son Fuel were rescued 5 kilometers off the shores of Greatscale Village. The Osohe Coast Guard team plans to conduct an interview once the two have fully recovered.
Though all of this relies on a big convoluted theory for the N64 version, so take it with a slice of salt. There's also multiple unused maps in Mother 3's data that use this track, located nearby other Grayscale beach maps, which does help its connection with the location. The final track is Adolescence, Toilet Cow's recommendation. Luckily, this one is very easily explainable. It was one of the first tracks with its purpose known. All one must do is head to the title screen. Or, well, the title screen in the early builds of Mother 3. If you remember Earthbound, waiting on the title screen would play the game's attract mode, showcasing Ness and his buddies traveling to all the locations he visited in the game. Mother 3 was also originally going to have this. In fact, it had 2 that would be played by waiting at the title screen. The track that was originally meant for them to play was Adolescence, showing the peaceful village of Tazmily and the people who lived in it. However, at some point in development, this whole sequence was cut. While there has never been an explanation, it might be for the same reason the game's final subtitle, Fall of the Pig King, was cut.
The meaning behind a game changes a lot between players. Players add more than half of the meaning and value to games, which is more than any other mode of expression. So I feel like that half that you've added is entirely your own. All I did was provide assistance. So keeping that in mind, subtitles have too strong a message that says, I want you to look at it this way. It narrows that world that belongs to the player. My personal feelings steer me to want to affirm everything the player thinks about the game. I wanted to make Mother 3 like a mirror, one that reflects the heart of the player off of the screen.
So, those are all the tracks in the Jukebox and their original purpose. Mother 3's development is a rabbit hole that just keeps getting bigger. Join again next time when we discuss more Mother 3. Leave in the comments some suggestions for a future video. Thanks for watching.